And when I get out, I'm planning on going to the butterfly house now, which therefore I will have immediate gainful employment. And yeah,
The other
the
condition, another condition was no use or possession of alcohol, illegal drugs, paraphernalia, any controlled substance without a valid prescription. Are you telling the court you didn't violate that?
I didn't, 2.5 years that was good. I had a miscarriage and it slipped up, but it was a minor slip up and I was already getting sober again when it all came to service, and I regretted it ever since. And
Is that why you avoided your agent in February?
No,
Why did you avoid your agent for those 3 days?
oh, well, I was in jail. I just had a miscarriage. I was depressed and
No, was it February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th?
That was July. So I believe what
Sorry.
she's referring to is the last conditional jail time that was ordered
Yeah.
previously.
All right, but with this July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, when you were being asked to go meet with your agent, why were you avoiding that?
Judge Mogen, I apologize. That was the corrections officers at the Barron County Jail who were requesting or directing her to provide UAs, and she was refusing.
All right,
Yes.
thank you. Okay. And she just said she was unable.
I did not get a response as far as what she had said, was just that she would not provide one after being asked multiple times.
Okay, why didn't you provide a sample for the corrections officer when you were in custody?
but the first time was right before I gave my statement, and I still hadn't received a glass for water. I was there for 2 hours and they were busy. And the second time, I don't know.
How about the third time?
I don't even remember being asked a second or third time, honestly.
All right. So if I am to believe the statements that you're telling me here today, are you telling me that Miss Bebo and her connections and the information provided to her are wrong and are lies?
I'm not saying she's lying, but it's not, I don't know. The address thing is not I don't know.
You never told her that you didn't update or give your correct address of where you're living, which is a requirement.
Yeah, and she knew
because you didn't want to move or transfer agents?
She knew about the apartment address, and I told her I was moving back in with my mom, which I was moving back in with my mom. I just had to go pack up my apartment. That was,
Ms. Bebo, were you under that impression? Did you know that she was just going to that apartment to pack it up?
No, Judge, I was not aware that she was living in Cumberland until she was arrested and served conditional jail time the first time. And then I was again under the impression that she was being evicted and would be living with her mom upon release.
yeah. That was,
Is that accurate, Ms. Nelson?
yeah, that was my plan, was moving back in with mom.
Now, what I'm asking, if it was your plan, because your plan was wrong and it was violating DOC policy, state law, and the court's conditions of your judgment of conviction. So I have, all I'm hearing from you, all I've heard from you, Ms. Nelson, are excuses, why I didn't do what I was told to do, why I didn't do what I was legally supposed to do, why I didn't do what Department of Corrections requires me to do. Because I've heard excuses and the opposite of what Ms. Bebo has stated here in court. And so you're essentially telling me that Ms. Bebo is lying.
That's not, okay.
And it's hard for me to believe that the day that you were pulled over with your kids in your car, you were driving to drop them off so that you can go see probation. It's always that. I'm going to tell you, this isn't the first time I've heard this. People are always on their way to Department of Corrections to turn themselves in. They're always having an interview the next day when they're in custody or the day of they got picked up. They're always starting a new job. And so they need to be released from custody. They're always doing what the court told them to do, but for the fact that they got picked up and they got arrested. All I heard were reasons, again, that were completely opposite than the information and facts that I was provided by Ms. Bebo. I need to state that you were given a very, very sweet plea deal. But for the fact that your attorney argued for your rehabilitation, you faced a very serious prison sentence. It's a Class E felony, a Class E felony. That means you could face 15 years of incarceration, 10 years of initial confinement, and then the 5 years of extended supervision.
Mhm.
That's hanging over your head right now.
I understand.
That should be a huge hammer hanging over your head, where you say, Ms. Bebo, I'm going to do everything that I need to do. I need to follow the law. I need to follow the judge's orders. I need to follow what the Department of Corrections is requiring of me.
Mhm.
You were also provided the ability to reunite with your children, because during that time, I can't recall if it was Barron County,
Polk.
removed your children from your care. I understand relapse, and I understand it very completely with doing the treatment court. That happens.
Mhm.
But there are ways that you work, and the ways that you use the tools that you've learned after a relapse. And that includes having the people that are there to help and assist you and guide you and having those conversations. Ms. Bebo is one.
And I
Going
was,
to A is another. Based upon the information that I have here today, I do find that you have violated numerous conditions of the court on the judgment of conditions, as well as violated your rules and policies of the Department of Corrections. I'm ordering conditional jail. I'm ordering 120 days, not 51, 120 days. You have 15 years of incarceration over your head. That means no little white lies if you believe they are lies. Here they weren't little white lies. I don't believe that for a second. You blatantly lied to Ms. Bebo and to others of authority to do what you want, how you wanted to do it, thinking you could get away with that. That's called criminal thinking. That's criminal thinking. Has she been engaged in any MRT or other such programs?
She was not enrolled in any program when she got transferred to my case, no.
All right, well, I'm also going to order that. She has to do either a thinking for a change or breaking barriers, MRT, something of that nature.
Polk County just started MRT.
Okay, excellent. You are still using that criminal thinking brain. I understand the loss, a miscarriage, but a loss of a child. I completely understand that. I understand having the sorrow and the pain. I also understand reaching out to others who can keep you on that sober path and keep you on the non-criminal path. Because Ms. Nelson, it may come down to it where the department's going to next ask that you be revoked and you be sentenced with 10 years of initial confinement and 5 years of extended supervision hanging over your head. That is nothing that you should take lightly. So 120 days from date of arrest or pickup. And it appears that I'm going to have more probation review hearings with Ms. Nelson because she's not understanding the risk. And if not only does the Department of Corrections, but if she needs the court to babysit her to make sure that she understands that risk, I will. I can do October 6th at 2. Zoom is approved for the agent. If she is out of custody, if you are out of custody, you must be here in person. If you are not out of custody, I think you should be, but you can be by Zoom as well. Anything further, Ms. Vivo?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned. Stacy, we have about 7 minutes. I'm going to throw myself into the waiting room.
Well, that took a turn. The final ruling in state of Wisconsin versus Kelly Nelson was one of the most stern and frankly sobering moments we've seen from Judge Mogen, and it brought the full weight of the justice system down with remarkable clarity. After a hearing packed with excuses, contradictions, and what the judge plainly called criminal thinking, the court had heard enough. Nelson was hit with 120 days of conditional jail, more than double what her agent had initially recommended. And if that number didn't catch your attention, maybe the reason behind it will. Judge Mogen walked through the case like a surgeon, methodical, precise, and not afraid to make deep cuts when necessary. Nelson, already on probation for a Class E felony meth distribution charge, had racked up multiple supervision violations, refusing urinalysis, failing to report, misleading her agent about her address, and driving with her kids in the car while a warrant was active. Her justifications? A miscarriage, mental health struggles, a miscommunication with her agent, but the judge wasn't buying it. She made clear that while she empathized with Nelson's grief, pain doesn't excuse manipulation or dishonesty. And let's talk about that phrase, criminal thinking. Judge Mogen used it several times, and not lightly. She pointed out how Nelson repeatedly tried to shape her story to fit whatever looked best in the moment, saying she was on her way to probation when arrested, claiming her missed urinalysis was because no water was provided, downplaying her absence as unintentional. In the judge's words, "It's always the day they get picked up that they're on their way to do the right thing. She's heard it all before, and she wasn't about to let it slide here. Nelson's probation deal had been generous, with prison time hanging over her head like a sword. 15 years total 10-inch confinement and 5 extended. The judge reminded her that it was only thanks to strong advocacy from her attorney that she didn't already serve time, and yet, even with that second chance, Nelson repeatedly chose her own rules. Judge Mogen said flatly, "You blatantly lied to do what you want, how you want, thinking you could get away with it. That was the final straw, so what now?" Alongside the jail time, the court ordered Nelson to complete a cognitive behavioral program, MRT, breaking barriers, or thinking for a change. These aren't soft-touch programs. They're built to confront entrenched thinking patterns and force accountability. Judge Mogen also scheduled a probation review hearing for the 6th of October. And here's the kicker. If Nelson needs the court to babysit her, the judge is ready to do exactly that. This wasn't about vengeance. It was about enforcing boundaries, drawing a line, and sending a clear message. Second chances aren't infinite. You've got to meet them with action, not excuses. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.